Welcome. We're so excited to have so many of you join us on this Tuesday evening during the middle of the very important Teacher Appreciation Week. So we're glad that you can make space and time to join us. We're just going to give it a few minutes for you all to gather with us in this space as we share this important topic about morning meeting and why it matters and all the things we can do to make it something that really matters in our spaces and in our classrooms and just capitalize on the power of it. So we're really going to spend some time diving in with that tonight. For those of you joining you who didn't have a chance to join session one, this is the part two of the webinar series. And so if you didn't get a chance to see that, make sure after you get the recording of this, you also dip back and get the recording of our part one series we did in April. But to introduce myself, my name is Karen Poplawski, and I am the Chief Programs Officer for Responsive Classroom, a former classroom teacher, a former founding principal at two separate schools, and I had the honor and privilege to be the author of the fourth edition. So I'm coming to you with a lot of passion about this topic and all the great things that morning meeting has to offer from many perspectives. But tonight, really coming to you as the author of this resource to unpack the beauty that lies inside of it. And I'll kick it over to my colleague, Kristen, and introduce herself as we get started this evening.
Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Vincent. I'm the Director of Marketing for Responsive Classroom. And I'm so excited that all of you are joining us. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day and week. And we appreciate that you're spending time with us to learn from the author about morning meeting and just dig into that topic a little bit more. I'm going to turn my camera off and I'll be behind the scenes working the chat. We would love for you to drop into the chat where you're joining us from. Just make sure your chat is set to everyone. There's a little blue bar or button there, and just make sure it's set to everyone so we can all see your responses, and feel free to make connections. And I know Karen will have us participating as we go along. So thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Thanks, Kristen. And as you are joining us tonight, in addition to sharing where you're from, we would love for you to share a response to this in the comment section. And again, as Kristen said, make sure it's set to everyone so everyone can see your thoughts and you can see everyone's thoughts as we engage tonight. So tonight we're going to be looking at the specific components of morning meeting. So in addition to where you're joining us from, please add in the comment, which component of morning meeting do you currently spend the most time planning? The greeting, the sharing, the activity, or the message? So I'm going to give you a little over a minute to both read and respond to this, and then check out where people are joining you from and make some connections with what your fellow colleagues are sharing as a part that they plan the most. So as I'm taking a look, we have people from all parts of the country joining us tonight and really spending their time with us. And as I'm taking a look, I'm noticing that we have some variety on what individuals are spending their time planning and how they're really looking at planning, and really thinking about which pieces they're paying attention to and how they are really trying to make morning meeting really powerful for them. And so as you look, you may see some people that you're resonating with, but I see kind of across the board. While I would say, activity tends to be one that people are spending a lot of time planning, it seems like we've all realized that there is merit to spending time planning multiple aspects of these components. And so that's what we're going to spend tonight talking about, is how you get the most out of all these components. So as for those of you joining, we talked last time a little bit about the purpose of our morning meeting. As you all know, our morning meeting is unique in with these four components. There's many different type of circle gatherings or other ways to welcome students, but a responsive classroom morning meeting is a responsive classroom approach. We are the place where it came out of, and we are the original when it comes to the original source, when it comes to this, when it comes to thinking about how you're creating spaces where you can make sure students are known or seen or able to make connections with others, how they can find some joy or and really engage and interact with each other and know that we can take risks collectively together and settle in with the message to springboard their day. So that is what we're going to spend some time unpacking as we look at each of these pieces. There's lots of familiarity with morning meeting, and the morning meetings we really talk about in our coursework, and specifically in the fourth edition, really highlight the power of purposeful planning. So I had the honor both and when I stepped outside of my classroom teaching role and stepped into the role as a school administrator, I really had the honor and privilege to see morning meetings kind of in a different way because it wasn't just my spin or my take on it. It was really understanding how educators embrace this approach. And I've had some varying experiences with it. I remember when we had first started using morning meeting at the school where I was first a principal, I was so excited for my teachers to be trained and to learn morning meeting because I knew it was just going to be something that was going to help really solidify a school community. And I laugh when I think about how day one I had six kids in my office off the bat at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm wondering what could have gone wrong at 6:30 that I have six kids, or at 8:30 in the morning where I have six kids sitting in my office waiting to see me. I mean, we did morning meeting. How can this have gone wrong? And what I realized is that my teachers had left training so excited about some of the more active activities and the more active greetings, and they had really developed these high energy morning meetings, and the students weren't ready for them. So the rollout of it didn't take the right path for them and didn't have the consequence we want because, it did the opposite of bringing people together. We had six kids who were out of the room because they just hadn't learned how to take care of their personal space. And so when they were doing these high energy songs and chants and dances and greetings, it caused some conflict. I've also had the experience of walking into classrooms where you could tell it was a going through the motions morning meeting, meaning, okay, we got to do a greeting. What greeting should we do? All right. Anyone have anything to share? An activity. Which one do you want to do today? And the kids would all shout out an activity and they would do it. And then they would read a message that was posted the same thing kind of every day, a low level message. And what always shocked me is even with that low level, kids were engaged and excited, but they weren't quite reaping the full benefits of morning meeting. And so what I saw is they kind of were engaged in that. But then when the meeting was over, none of that power went through with the rest of the day. It didn't carry on with them. They just kind of did it and it was done. And so both of those experiences were eye-opening into me in that morning meeting is so much more than just doing the four components and just having a grand old time. When done well, you really can use it as a leverage point. And so the shift we're going to make tonight is to not think about, oh, I have to plan a morning meeting, but more, how can I plan it and how can I leverage it? How can I use what's happening in those 20 minutes to make my day more powerful for everyone? So we're going to start first with looking at the greeting. And with the greeting, I will always say that there's power in knowing names. There's power in being able, and not necessarily power may not be the right word, but there's freedom in being able to know people's names and have freedom and autonomy to be able to go engage with them. Knowing names is an in. It's just a social in, and I will laugh. There are adults who will circumvent a whole room to try to remember someone's name before they engage with them, so they don't have to kind of say, "Hey, you." It's an awkward thing if you don't know someone's name. And so being able to learn and know names is an in. It's something that we should be proud of names. We should celebrate names. But beyond just knowing names and providing students an in through that greeting, letting them know we're glad you're here and we're glad you were here with that identity in your name. We can leverage greetings in powerful ways. For example, we might, as we've introduced children in a greeting, we might then stop after several partner greetings with each other. So students may be walking around the room greeting several individuals. We may stop them, have them look to the person who's the last person they greeted, and let them know that when we go to practice spelling, that's going to be their spelling partner, which then saves time in our academic day, time in making those introductions because they've greeted each other, they've welcomed each other. We have done that circumventing of that for them so that when they go to do in their academic spaces. So if I have planned in my day that I'm going to have students practice for a spelling test, I might purposely do a greeting that allows me to quickly partner people up and have that introduction done and those pleasantries done, and then circle back to it very quickly to set up that quick practice before a test. And so I'm interested to hear from you in the chat. So this is the wonderful thing about our time together. It's not just me sharing how we've leveraged that, but I want you to really share and lean on your colleagues who are dropping ideas in the chat. How do you currently leverage the greeting component, or how could you leverage the greeting component? Take about 2 to 3 minutes to drop an idea in the chat. There are so many powerful ideas. Do make sure that you are setting your chat, the blue where it says, make sure it says everyone versus host and panels, because there's some fabulous ideas that are coming through that you might glean some ideas for how you might use that greeting to really leverage what's happening for the rest of their days. Either if it's building and setting the stage for academics, or it is making sure that your students have a comfortability level, having introduced to each other, know names, know who to partner up with, know who to connect with, know how to greet others as they're working throughout the day, being able to say someone's name to a student so they can pass them a pencil or give them a sheet of paper. All those things are just ways that'll help students with autonomy be able to navigate the day in addition to building academics. So keep those ideas rolling in there. I know everyone will appreciate gleaning some of your ideas on what they're doing as they're sharing as well. The next piece, obviously, with sharing is thinking about how can we really purposely plan sharing so that we might leverage it, so that it isn't just something we do during morning meeting time and then we leave. Sharing can be so powerful, not only for empathy and perspective taking and being able to connect someone on a human level, but it can be a really rich stepping stone for language development. Um, as students are both practicing speaking and listening skills, they're also able to really develop some of those key language communication as they're able to tell a story. They're able to share ideas. one way that I've seen the sharing component used really powerfully is when educators do the dialogue share. And I'd watched this teacher masterfully be able to have, as she was working with students on main idea and supporting details, have the students working on topic sentences and just developing their main idea sentences. And she used the dialogue share morning meeting to help them. She had one student share, and others were asking questions. And as they were asking questions, she was helping them make the connection of how these questions help us build out our story. And so I have this main idea. And so just as your partners or your classmates are asking questions, you can ask yourself these questions to be able to really tell a powerful story. And she used that for several days to have them really be able to build that powerful language competency. And so they would go back and work with partners on asking each other questions about their main idea and then formulating their stories using their main idea and supporting details from the questions that were elicited and generated by their classmates. So that's one great way that that morning meeting time was purposely planned. So she knew this was coming up and she knew that that was, and she wanted to make a link rather than them just sharing, anything they wanted to. She knew and purposely embedded and did her sharing structure in that way to be able to support her academic day. And so that's one way that you can use sharing. And again, in the chat, because this is a space and time to learn from all these experts who are sharing such wonderful things in the chat, what are some ways you can use sharing? How can you purposely plan sharing how can you leverage the sharing time of the morning meeting? Go ahead and take about 2 to 3 minutes to respond and check out some ideas in the chat. There are so many good ideas and ways that people, so I hope you all are capturing this. There's lots of powerful connections with responding to prompts, sentence starters, rephrasing, questions and statements. There's just so many great ways that you are making that connection so that we're really capitalizing on that language rich part of sharing and using that language rich part of sharing to be able to shift into um, shift into the focus for everyone, the power of writing. Um, my apologies. I am eagerly trying to turn on my video this evening, and I've got a little glitch in Zoom, so hopefully y'all can hear me and you can follow along. I'm sorry my picture is showing up. I'm trying to click into the video and it's struggling with me right now. So there we go. Now it's cooperating. So my apologies. But as I was saying, you've got so many rich ways that you are sharing and capitalizing on that both in building on language arts and I see in many other content areas. So I think the key piece of this is understanding that make this work for you and make what you're doing in morning meeting work for you in many different ways. And activity. So we're going to kind of follow this flow, as you can tell, where we're going to really just kind of spend time with each component. I'll share some examples and then you'll have a chance to learn from others. With activity, there are so many great academic activities, but the one thing I want to point out with activity is the power of having fun. Uh, with this, you can definitely leverage some different games that you can do for learning, like spelling stroll is a great one to practice for spelling, or you might have a math game that you can play, or guessing if you've studied some different scientific facts, like having them being able to guess what this thing is as you're describing something. So there's lots of different ways to embed academics in there. The one thing I do want to point out about activity is there is something special and important and okay with coming together for fun and just embracing activity as a means to laugh together, to stop and smile and laugh together. And we know enough about the brain chemistry to know that that can be a powerful thing. Laughter and smiles can be a powerful thing. And so, as you think about your activities, think about how are students engaging in that moment? How are they letting loose? How are they having fun? How are they taking risk in really safe ways and able to laugh with each other at mistakes, able to um, really find joy in that? And the reason I'm saying this is because in the time of where absenteeism is a real thing, sometimes the laughter and the joy and the being together can be the thing that affirms students' choice to show up and lets them know and puts them on the right trajectory. So, what is one way as you think about the activity that you embrace, or what might you do in the future to make sure that the activity portion, especially all of them, we want to be joyful, but what might you do differently, or how might you make sure that your activity really does bring joy and you start off your day with joy and being together? So take about, about 2 minutes to interact in the chat. There are so many good ideas. I mean, I can feel the joy in your classrooms and you're reading through these. And I hope you are taking a look at all the different variety of what colleagues are offering there in ways that they're thinking about varying activities or thinking about what type of activities they're embedding. Um, and there was a question that came in the chat. When you think about what you're using for activity, uh, does it meet the goal? Is it bringing people together? Is it allowing them to come around a common goal? Is it allowing them to share some camaraderie to make safe mistakes um, together? There were some things that, doing some silly activities in team building, allowing you to laugh together, sportsmanship, cooperation. So is it whatever you might be bringing in or connecting to the activity portion? Staying goal oriented. So that's the answer to that is if it's meeting my goal, then it's meeting my goal. And so that's the thing of if you're because you're purposely planning. So if you're purposely planning something that's going to allow you to achieve what the activity portion set out to do, then yeah, the simple answer is yes, do that and incorporate that. Um, and I love the variety. Some days it can be simple, it can be big, but it's that joy together that we want to see. And I appreciate Kristen saying that, we'll share this chat transcript because I'm sure you want to read some of the other great ideas. I'm trying to keep up with them and being able to see all these wonderful ideas. And so I have to remember that I have to present rather than just reading your ideas. So thank you all for dropping these great things in the chat. And then finally, as we think about message, um, again, digging into how can we leverage that? Your message is your letter to your classroom. So so what you choose to do for your message is important. It is, how am I going to set up my day? It is letting them know something to look forward to or big pictures to look forward to. So you can't capture it all. And it's not an agenda. How am I kind of unpacking for them something that might be new that they're going to do, something I want them to remember, or a transition point right from when I leave that message or the meeting space. Of course, you have to think about, how if it's my letter to students, how can I interact with it in different ways? Because how can I make it active and interactive? And so I know many of you have seen lots of different examples that we might show of students interacting with the text. They might be looking for vowels, or they might be making different motions to punctuation. If I'm learning a lot about different punctuation, I might intentionally craft a message with different punctuation and make sounds to those punctuation. So is there something I kind of want to highlight? It might help students with really contextualizing graphs and charts, um, and contextualizing language. I know sometimes we would look at, high frequency words, and we would use some of the messages to, well, how much is the word and showing up in our message today? Like a really understanding that that word shows up a lot, or the word the. So there's lots of different ways that we can just kind of look and appreciate the text of a message, and additionally using it as something intentional to set up my day. So how are you share some ideas with each others on what you're currently doing to get the most out of your message to leverage it for the day? Or what's an idea what's something you might do in the future? So again, we'll just take about 2 minutes to respond and share with and read others' responses. So keep reading these powerful ideas, and I really appreciate your time this evening after a day of teaching, coming in here and really sharing and being so involved in the chat. That's what that great cognitive growth occurs through social interaction, and we're doing it through a different way in the chat. But this does allow us to use our collective energy to think together. And so hopefully you're gaining some ideas about how you might make that time together really purposeful. Because simply morning meeting is more. It's more than just doing the four components. It's more than just uh, doing something because it sounds like the kids may like it. It can be so much more, and doing it deliberately really allows it to not be something separate, but a lever for your day. And I cannot stress that enough of it. It should be planned in light of what you're doing so that you are really setting that stage intentionally for the students each day. And it's a great gift because, as we've talked about in the last webinar, thinking about all the ways we kind of come in, all of us have varying experiences. This is our gift for all of us to celebrate. We're here and we're ready to go do this great work today. And what a power every day to have a new beginning and a new formal beginning. And so, spending some time planning morning meeting purposely can be something that can be very rewarding, not only for you, but for the students. And so it is more. And so always thinking about what we can do to get the most out of it. And it is really as we were going to look, and as I was looking at the fourth edition, as we were looking at all the rich stuff in there, we really wanted a way for it to be very easy and user friendly. So something we did really intentionally is not only the previous editions had kind of a chart for different songs, chants, beginning of the year, end of the year, but we were intentional about providing some visual icons for you in planning. So you got a quick glance of, oh, I think I might need a song. I might need some movement. My kids were really struggling yesterday with some teamwork. I need a cooperative game, or I need a song to just kind of have fun together and remember that we do actually like each other. Um, so it helps this quick grid, but also it's not just there, it's on every page. So I can quickly glance through and choose and kind of look at the activity section and look at directions and kind of see, yep, I wanted a song. This is what I want, without having to flip back and forth. So we tried to use these icons to make it really user friendly so that you can get a quick glance at things, but also as you're looking at the activities and reading them each individually, you got a quick sense of whether that activity is going to be a good fit by the coding of the color charts that's in there and the icons that support that planning. There's also there's some tips throughout the actual text that really help you think about the planning too. So go deeper into what I'm touching upon tonight. And so really help you take take the thought of morning meeting and go a step further. As I had mentioned the last time, there's going to be tips in there on how to work with nonverbal students. Now you're incorporating them into that and supporting them with the meeting, and how you're addressing behavioral issues that might come up during morning meetings. So there's lots of purposeful planning tips in here and also ways to support you in implementation. And also, as a reminder, it has that chapter on taking it school wide. So if you've experienced the power of morning meeting each of these components, it gives you lots of great ideas for components that will work in a school-wide setting, with some adaptation. So we're trying to make it easier now more than ever for you to take advantage of morning meeting and to bring that power to your school, or if you have some colleagues in other schools that can jump on board. We've got these great bulk discounts in place that allow you to to take it on school-wide, district-wide, and invest in it at a fraction of the cost. So that's the way that we can support you all. So it is Teacher Appreciation Week, and as I will say, with a little, maybe great to share this webinar and with a wink wink to the PTA or a wink wink to the district. It'd be great if we could have these resources in hand to be able to support this practice and be able to get the most out of this practice so that we can see its impact on the day. So I would encourage you just to think about this and to take advantage of these savings. We have a lot of teachers who will take this on one by one. But when it's done school-wide, when it's done district-wide, wow, it has the power to really transform those conditions for students. And I will answer, and so I will answer the question in the chat. Typically, morning meeting about 20 to 25 minutes. So, yep, you're wanting to think about, if we're giving our 20-25 minutes, how am I really using that purposely to get the best out of that time and the best out of my day? And as someone shared, it can't be done in 15 minutes if we're keeping the goal in mind. It may take up to 30, but it's what you do with that time. So more than the minutes, it's how you leverage it for your day. And so I do thank you for your time here this evening. And I've shared the bulk discounts. I also want to share that we will be taking from the attendance tonight, and for all of you who are able to attend in person, you will be entered into a drawing, and we're going to have one lucky winner to get a copy of the morning meeting book. So one of you will get that coming your way as an appreciation. Also, don't forget to follow us on social. We have some great discounts for teachers this week and some great offerings for teachers this week. I have an appreciation for you. You all do the most important work in the world. And so you all get up with your coffee or whatever you need in hand to go into those classrooms, and you put the smiles on kids' faces. You help them know that they're going to have a good day. You help them love learning. You create the joy. What we want to do here at the center is to be able to put tools in your hand to make creating joy easier. And so we think we've done that with the morning meeting 4th edition, and we hope you get that in your hands and make magic like you always do in classrooms. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.